Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wrestle Horror. Greetings, listeners and viewers. Once again, this is Meathook Jim, along with Donnie Hoover, and we are the Wrestle Horror Podcast.
How's everybody doing out there today?
I bet they're doing better than I am.
Are you hungover or something?
Oh, no, not hungover at all. It's been one of those weekends, just last weekend I did a whirlwind trip to Toronto, Ontario and back, and then straight back to work. So yeah, this is the weekend to do nothing.
Yep, there you go, to recover, huh?
Yeah, except record stuff.
Right. So how'd the weekend go? You went to the wrestling fest out there or something, didn't you?
Yeah, it was the Summit in Toronto. It was held at the Midtown Event Theater. Small venue was packed, and it was a great show. It was 4 different promotions that worked together to put on this show called the Summit. And
nice.
It was Smash Wrestling, which is based in Mississauga, which is right next door to Toronto. Femme Fatales, Shimmer, and Rise. And what can I say? It was a great show. The ladies really... The guys in this business need to watch out because the ladies are coming up with some pretty spectacular stuff. That's what this was. From start to finish, it was action-packed, and, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that my favorite female wrestler, Rosemary, she was in the opening contest and became the brand new first ever Smash Women's Champion at the end of this.
Nice. Very cool.
So
I bet Chris marked out for that, didn't she?
Her and Shelby both.
Yeah.
Big time.
I've seen you guys ran into New Ohio Wrestling Zoe Sky while you guys were out there.
We did. She was wrestling as well in a I think it was a fatal 4-way.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was supposed to be a singles match, turned into a tag team match. Vita Scott was on her team. And Dust in this promotion was not real happy with Vita Scott, and showed it as being part of Paradise Lost, which is actually managed by Rosemary.
Nice.
She never ceases to get up there and do some high flying stuff. That she did some stuff at the Ohio State Fair and. With Katie Arquette, and this match was no different. She gives it her all.
Oh yeah.
I wonder sometimes these women that have this long hair, because her hair is long, and it's just I see it getting in the way, getting pulled, getting stepped on. But they managed to work it. So.
Oh yeah.
If anybody ever gets a chance to see any of those promotions. Give it an opportunity. It was a good show, and the legendary Bull Nakano was there as well.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and she had to interject herself in another match later on the card, where the heel decided she doesn't want to give up her belt that she lost.
Uh-oh.
So Bull Nakano came out and did some what and made sure that the winner got her belt.
There you go.
So
a happy ending at the end.
It was. And the funny thing about the trip though was it was kind of, we did an Airbnb. We've never done an Airbnb before. Mm-hmm. Now we saw the pictures. It was clean. It was quiet. That's important to us. The price was right. Wasn't in the best part of town.
Yeah. So
we got a little bit nervous. It was in a shopping plaza of all places, between a bar and a Jamaican grocery store.
Nice.
And it had a security door, but everybody was just really nice because we went down, me, Chris, and Shelby, we all went down to the Oxford pub, which was right downstairs, thinking, maybe it's a nice little quaint little British pub. Wrong. No, that was a Jamaican pub.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing against them. As a matter of fact, everybody was really cool. They didn't give us any grief, but the bartender, didn't know how to make drinks. She knew how to pour shots and pull beers.
Yeah, that was it, huh?
That was about it. Chris confused her a couple of times ordering an amaretto sour was foreign to this bartender.
Oh, okay.
And she didn't know how to make a tequila sunrise either. So that didn't leave much hope. But
Right.
hey, she could bust out a Molson Gold with the best of them.
Hey, that's just as good, I guess.
So all in all, the Airbnb turned out all right. It was not as scary as it looked. As we went back to our room that night, there was a bunch of them all standing around our door smoking weed because
Nice.
it's legal in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
But they were real. Oh, you guys get out of the way. They're going back upstairs. I'm sorry, sir. We'll get them out of the way. You guys move. Come on.
That's
nicest,
cool, yeah.
nicest people I'd ever want to meet. You know,
Mm-hmm.
very cordial. And I felt better about it after
Nice.
that. And then Sunday we came back, did the falls because we got held up. We were supposed to do the falls on Friday. We sort of did them. We got held up because the girls had to go get their passports at the passport agency, so we had to wait 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't get into town that Friday until I don't know, it was 8:30, something like that. But so on the way back, we stopped at the falls, did the Maid of the Mist, which if you haven't done it, it's an experience. Right up to the base of the Horseshoe Falls.
Nice.
And we stayed. We were supposed to come home Sunday, but we stayed so long at Niagara Falls State Park that we just went ahead and got a room for the night and came home on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit worn out from all the whirlwind traveling and having to go back to work right out the gate. You know,
That's the sucky part.
Yeah, and I didn't get home till like 7:30 on Monday. I had to be at work Tuesday morning after a 6.5, 7-hour drive.
Mm-hmm.
Which Chris drove. I mean, I can't complain about that. But
yeah,
all in all, it's been a crazy week. And then a couple days ago, my daughter Shelby is epileptic, and she had a small seizure, but it was enough for her to slip down the stairs and break her ankle.
Oh man.
So she's out of commission for a little while.
Mm-hmm. Is that the first time she's done that, or is that the second time?
It's the second time she's broken that ankle.
Yeah, that sucks.
It does. She's going to an orthopedic surgeon on Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because right now she's in a splint.
Mm.
But I'm sure.
She's probably not happy.
No, she's not. And on top of that, she's kind of taking advantage of Mom and Jim because she can't move around much.
Right. I mean, I probably would too if I was in her shoes, you know. I mean, I did it with my shoulder. I'd baby it like, oh, Terry, can you get this for me?
But, and then I had to catch up on my Impact Wrestling, and I finally caught up on it. And I go listen to podcasts. I've been listening to 83 Weeks with Eric Bischoff lately.
Nice.
So that's about my week.
Yeah.
I'm always, haunt season's coming up soon, so I've got to get ready for that.
Oh, yeah.
Not that I'm working, but I'm only working one night, but I'm always working. It's my other people that are working. We've got our big client in Indy Screen Park.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got Backwoods Oddities with Alan Shell, who we had on the last show.
Yeah, very cool guy.
So it's going to be not a crazy season, but I'm okay with it not being crazy this year.
Oh, yeah.
We've had some really scrambling seasons, and this is just going to be one of those coast season, reset the clock, get everything going again, and we're going to hit it hard next year. I'm still planning on going to take my team to HauntCon in January.
Cool.
So, yeah, that's the life of Meathook Jim. He's not stringing anybody up. He's not running his meat hook through anybody.
All right.
He's just a regular guy who announces a few wrestling matches and likes to scare people.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that at all.
So what about you? What's been going on your end that you can talk about?
Nothing as exciting as yours, but I say mainly just business stuff. Still working the day job, unfortunately, for now. It's a good job. I can't complain. But as you can see by my shirt, we just moved our daughter into her Ohio State dorm for her freshman year at OSU. So she's a good distance away from us, about 20 minutes. So, so she's just down the road, which is a good thing. But yeah, that was a great experience. Like I said, we pulled up and people were cheering for her and cheering for us, and they unloaded our van for us. We didn't even have to move her in; they did it all themselves. So it was definitely a cool experience. And she's going there for chemical engineering, so she's got her hands full. She's a smart kid, but she's going to have to earn it. So that was a whole day's event, which was fun, and pretty much just. Besides raising the kids and the hurricane and all that, we've been doing a lot of business stuff, finalizing deals with the Arnold. Got that all squared away, so we're good to go there. In talks now with the Ohio State Fair, as we mentioned the last show, I think, and they're wanting us to do a 4-day, 4-hour event on each day. So we're trying to work out the details and the money and get all the stuff, the times and the dates and all that squared away and come to an agreement on that. So that's going to be pretty exciting. 4 days at the fair this year. And we're also working on a festival in June of next year. It'll be a 2-day festival, and we're in talks with that as well, coming up with an agreement, the times and the dates and all that. So that should be pretty fun. So I've basically been doing business stuff for the whole week. It's like meetings and emails and, coming up with ideas and quotes. And then we had another incident that I won't talk about right now because it was just an incident in the haunt industry, which was kind of interesting, but we'll just leave that at that for now. As for the haunting season, I don't think I'm going to be able to do anything this season because I'm recovering from rotator cuff and bicep surgery, and I'm not able to even get off a restriction until mid-September. So I don't want to go right into haunt season and jumping up and down on stuff and doing the craziness that I do and end up tearing my shoulder again. So I think I'm just going to take this season off and be a customer. I'm going to try to. Terry and I said we'd like to go to a couple haunts and visit some instead of being stuck at one for this year. So we're going to do that and just go to a few haunts and have some fun as customers, I think, this season. So we're looking forward to that as well.
There's nothing wrong with that. I enjoy going to a good haunt.
Oh, yeah.
But it's the nature of the business. We don't get to see much when we're working.
Yeah. Yeah, you're stuck in that same scene for, like, with me in my case. I was in one scene for the whole season, so it was like that's all I got to see. It's like, I didn't get a chance to go to any other haunts and visit or nothing like that. So that's going to be pretty interesting to be able to go out and do some of that stuff.
You talk about being stuck in a scene. A few years back when I worked for a haunt, I wasn't necessarily stuck in the scene, but the music was piped throughout the entire area that I worked.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it was Tiptoed Through the Tulips by Tiny Tim. And I heard that over and over again. I started hearing it in my sleep. The entire season was Tiptoe Through the Tulips, amongst other things. But that one, because of his falsetto voice and everything, just always grated on my nerves when I heard it. So I always welcome getting a chance to get out and seeing some variety as opposed to the same old, same old.
Oh, yeah.
Although there is something to be said sometimes when I go to a haunt, I get the overwhelming urge to scare somebody else.
Yeah.
And I have to remember that I'm a guest, not an actor.
Mm-hmm.
But there's been times when I've been walking through where I could have scared people walking through and nobody had been the wiser.
Right.
But I have to behave myself because I'm a professional.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a bad case of that too. Like when the trail was going, like during the open season and even during the summer and the building season, I had this goal of I'd at least try to scare. We had a lady helping us named Marla, and she's a great lady. And my goal was to scare her at once every day that we were together. So every time we were together, whether it be out in the woods building or during an actual haunt season when we were out in our scenes, I always made it a point to come up and get her and scare her. And I did pretty good. I was probably about 95, 96% success rate. It's like,
Nice.
so yeah,
That's cool. I like Marla. She's nice.
yeah. So that was like one of my goals. So that I would worked harder to get a scare on her than I would actual customers that came into the haunt. But I knew I could scare them, but just to sneak up on her and get her was like the goal.
I even scare people at my day job. I do. I'm known around the office as the creepy Halloween guy. Um, but I've got a little device called an Eviltron.
Nice.
It's a little electronic device about that big, and that's not a joke. But that's about how big this device is, and it's got different sounds on it. It's got a little magnet you can hide it places.
Mm.
And there's like 7 different settings on it. And the one setting is a whispering voice that goes, "Hey, can you hear me?" And if, for those of you that couldn't hear that, it was, "Hey, can you hear me?" But it's a whispered voice. And every time I put it, I scared a couple of my coworkers. Some of them I just drove crazy because they couldn't find it because it was magnetic. And most of our desks are magnetic, so I was hiding it in various places. And then there's a little child's giggle, which is a little unnerving too.
Yeah.
So whenever we hired somebody new, they of course got the gym treatment, and they ended up having to search for the Eviltron. I used to have a hearse, and I even drove it to work, and I was told by my boss I'm not allowed to park it out front.
Why not?
She said it was creepy.
Yeah.
So when I did have it, I had to park it around back by the warehouse. I don't have said hearse. It was a money pit, but it was fun when I had it. And I'll get another one, I'm sure. Just it's going to be a matter of time and money.
Right. Right place at the right time, huh?
Yeah. I keep there's an ambulance for sale down the road. That's a party limo.
Oh, nice.
And I keep looking at that, going, yeah, that could look really cool wrapped in the mall stuff.
Right.
But again, money is an issue.
Yep. It always is.
And I don't know what kind of condition it's in or how well it runs.
Mm-hmm.
But it says party. It says ambulance. It says ambulance, but it's something that has to do with alcohol. And
Yeah.
it's party 911, and it's got the lights on the front and the back. Maybe I'll get it.
Yeah, you never know. It'd be cool.
It's something that's just reaches out and grabs you by the boo boo. I want.
Yeah.
I like something that's going to draw attention and that would be great attention getter from mall.
Right. Yep, for sure.
It's just like Scaratorium had their ambulance,
Mm-hmm.
which the Haunted Hydro has now.
Yeah.
But same effect, It's
Oh, yeah. That was a cool ride there.
yeah, it was. I rode with it. I rode with it. I rode in it with Kelly a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm just moving on. We've got, like I said earlier, seasons coming.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and speaking of the seasons coming, the topic we wanted to touch on today is we're going to switch gears, and I'm going to kind of be the main host, and you're going to be the interviewee because this is up your alley now. We talked about some wrestling stuff and all that, but we want to switch to the horror stuff because that's what today's topic is about. And today, we just want to touch on just basic. We want to start with the basic training for like a haunt actor, and haunt actor training and haunt actor as yourself is your expertise. That's what you're you're known for, and that's what you do. So we just kind of want to touch on some basics, like basically haunt actor 101. Say if Donnie wants to, is sitting at home and just decided out of the blue, hey, I want to become work in a haunted house. I want to become a haunt actor, or I want to go scare people. What would be the steps that one would have to take? Because I know my road, it was kind of that way. I just kind of, like I said, I knew people in the business already, and I knew what they were doing, and I was like, man, that'd be kind of fun to try. So what I did is, I went through them and got connected with their people through the Scaratorium. And so I basically just volunteered for free. I went in and just volunteered, and they put me on scenes where it wasn't extensive acting because I didn't have any actor training at that time. But it gave me a taste. I think I did a bang door, which bang door is still my favorite thing ever. I love that friggin' thing. And then like a drop panel. I did some drop panels and just stuff where it didn't take extensive acting, but you could, drop it down and blah, whatever. And so that's what I did to start. That was my basically haunt actor 101. And then I would get tips from my friends and the people there. And but is there like a path that, just like with pro wrestling, people say, how do I get into wrestling? My first answer is go to wrestling training, get trained professionally, get trained the right way. They'll lead you on the path on where you need to go. So is there something like that with haunting? Like this, and in your opinion, like if somebody's sitting on their couch and they say, hey, I want to become I want to work at a haunted house. I want to scare people for fun. What would they need to do and to start that road?
Well, the first thing I would suggest they do is take a long, hard look at it. It might sound great on the surface. Hey, I want to go scare people. I want to work in a haunted house. I'm going to go have fun and yada, yada, yada. Let me tell you, make no mistake. It's a job.
Mm-hmm.
In most cases. But people have to understand that. You just can't go into a haunt and do whatever you want. You have to play by the rules of the haunt owner, of the haunt manager, what the theming of the haunt involves. So really make sure this is what you want. And the reason I say that is because earlier in my professional career, I worked at Kings Island, and they would hire 500 monsters for the season. Well, a couple of weeks in, all of a sudden, 250 of these monsters realize that this is a job and it's not fun to them anymore.
Right.
So they quit. So you're leaving the other people to take up the slack. That's why I say you've got to have the right amount of passion to do this. Another thing I suggest is don't think about making money. The more important thing would be think about scaring people. Is it something you like to do? When I interview somebody for mall, I'll ask them questions like, well, did you scare people as a kid?
Mm-hmm.
Did you scare your wife, your brother, your sister? I did. I started scaring my mom when I was 4 years old. On every opportunity I got, I scared my mother, and it never got old. She'd always jump, and I'm sure half the time she was just doing it to humor me.
Right.
But it stuck with me that she jumped, and that's what people are supposed to do. So think about what you're going to do. I'm not trying to steer anybody away from haunt acting. It's the best job you'll ever love if you do it right.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are committed and you plan to do this, go to a local haunt, apply for the job. You may even have to audition. If you've got no experience, that doesn't necessarily mean you don't get a position. You're not going to get a starring role.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always said that a great way to get somebody's feet wet in the haunted attraction industry as an actor is by working a drop panel.
Yep.
It's quick, it's startle, it's bang, it's reset. You get the scare and you reset quickly. Do you have to be completely costumed? No. Only the upper part of your body has to be. Because it's a hit and run. They're not even going to hardly see you. They're going to hear you.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to hear the bang. They're going to freak out from that, and then there you'll be. These are great ways to get started. If you're working in a room with more than one person, I highly recommend that you work with a veteran, somebody who's done it a couple of years. Kind of watch them and emulate what they do. Learn the hiding places in a haunt, because hiding places are the best. You look at a room, you size up the room, you own the room, and you know where you can hide, what you can do, so you're not doing the same thing over and over again. Because if you're doing the same routine over and over again, it gets boring.
Mm-hmm.
Now the drop windows are a little different because it's not repetitious. You might let a group go by, and because you're watching for that person that's really scared. So you want to be a little unpredictable. And that's why when you're in a room, find the different hiding places, because people will come through your haunt several times during the season, and nothing makes me angrier than when they do and they're coming with friends who haven't been here, that says somebody's hiding over here, that's going to drop over here, and it ruins the show.
Yeah, it ruins their experience. Yeah.
Right. So if you're a brand new haunt actor and you've got the chops, maybe the owner sees something special in you. But just start simple so you know what you're getting yourself into. It may be that you need a script. Some haunts work off of scripts. Some work off of improv. If you're not good with improv, make your own lines. If you've given that amount of freedom, make your own lines. Memorize, say, 5 different sets of lines. That way you don't get bored. Because if you're just going, I'm going to get you all night long, you're not going to want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So think about what scares you also, and try to take your fears and project them at your patrons. Try to make something that can scare them. I mean, if you know people that are, half the world is at least afraid of spiders. Or clowns.
Mm-hmm.
And clowns are guaranteed to get a scream out of somebody. I think clowns are a little overdone. I'm not saying they're not necessary, because they are, because coulrophobia is a very real thing. But there's other things besides clowns.
Mm-hmm.
There's other things besides zombies. Make your own character. Again, if you can. If not, you got to go with what the owner gives you. But if you've got an owner with a creative mind, he may say, hey, you create something.
Right.
And I've run into that before, where I was told I was given creative freedom to create my character. And $1,100 later, I finished it. He's still my primary character, and his name is the Dean. He's gone through lots of different iterations up until his current form, which has basically been the same for a few years now. I throw a few things here and there at it. So once you have a character that you know you're going to work and you know what you're going to do, if it's more than just a drop panel, write a backstory. Even if you've been given the character's name in a script, write a backstory. And there's a reason for writing a backstory. If you write a backstory, that character becomes that much more believable in your mind. And the more believable it is in your mind, the more believable it's going to be for the people that come through the haunt. You're gonna stop being Donnie Hoover. You're gonna be the creature from the Kickmaster Lagoon. You've got to show how you feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a way to do it. I've got backstories. I've got about 10 characters. Every one of my characters has a backstory. I've got them on file on my computer. My Dean has one of the longest backstories, as well as my butcher, Carl Cleaver. And his name's not Carl Cleaver. I don't know why I used Alan Hops's. He's got Carl. Yeah. I'm trying to steal Alan Hops's shtick now.
There you go. He's a good man to steal it from.
It's Clive. My name is Clive Cleaver, not Carl. Sorry, Alan. I don't know where my mind was.
Yeah.
Uh, and I've even got a female clown called Kinks, and she's
Nice.
probably the scariest character I've got, especially when I go after people that are homophobic.
Yeah, right. But seeing something like you walking up into them in a dress, that'd scare anybody, I think.
A mini skirt,
Yeah, oh God.
yeah, mini skirt
Yeah,
with striped stockings
nice.
and silicone boobs.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, that's it scares me. I've also got a Las Vegas showgirl's headdress I haven't broken out yet.
Oh, there you go.
But I don't
So,
think you want to see me dressed as a Las Vegas showgirl.
no, I think I'm good with that.
I think that'd be worse than dressing up in Cyrus Poe's getup. uh, Donnie, I lost you.
How about now?
That's better.
Oh, I hit the pause button on my daggone headphones. So anyway, going back to you were talking about so if they want to go in there and become an actor to go and do auditions and stuff like that. Um, from my experiences, I would like to add that even when you go to audition for a haunted house and interview for a haunted house, I would also um, audition them as well for you to work there. I mean, ask them if they offer training, because you're not going to just learn this stuff on your own. So just ask them, do you guys hold training classes to where we can be trained and taught and grow as an actor? I know for us, when we were running the Trail of Tormented Terror, we would hold training classes and we would try to, train our actors as much as we could. And that was a big help for me because, like I said, I'm kind of new to the industry. I have a few years under my belt as opposed to you having many years. And so I try to learn as much as I can. So I think that would probably be an important thing to find out as well. Because I remember with Scaratorium, I'd forgotten about it until you talked about auditioning. But I remember my Scaratorium audition, and I know it was horrible. And luckily, it was Bobby Joe Gonzalez that was I auditioned with, and bless her heart. And I think Ron was there. I can't remember who was with her. It's her, somebody, her and Ron maybe. But I know I did terrible. But bless her heart, she can't be mean to anybody. So she was just like, "Oh, good job, honey. That was great." And I'm thinking like, "Yeah, right." like, don't blow smoke up my butt. I know it was terrible. But I mean, but I was just going to do a drop panel, so I didn't really need, like you said, they're only going to see me seconds. So I mean, I just wanted to add that in there, that even though you're being interviewed and auditioned, also if you're serious about it, interview the place you're going to be working for as well. Make sure they offer training, make sure, that you're going to, surrounded by the right people, that are doing the right things. There's a lot of great people in haunting, but there's also some bad eggs, just like any other industry. So make sure you're not associating yourself with those bad eggs and that you're being trained the right way. But I mean, am I saying anything wrong in your opinion?
No, not at all. It's a good segue because I was going to mention checking on training.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they're just like in any business. You're going to have your straight up honest people, and you're going to have your snakes.
Right.
And you got to be able to tell one from the other. And quite frankly, if you know enough people in the business, you can ask questions to find the answers.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, definitely look for one that offers training. I was lucky enough to train at Scaratorium twice one year. And thanks to Kelly and Nina for having me for those two training sessions,
Mm-hmm.
as well as being on the DVD Scare, which was shot there over a number of years.
Yeah.
Myself and my wife Chris both were doing training there, and I think they got more of her on the DVD than they got of me, but that's okay
Right.
because she
I'll
learned
hold that against her.
she learned everything from me, so
Mm-hmm.
it works that way. But there are haunts out there. They may not offer their own training classes, but there are. That's where I would come in. I do a haunt training classes myself. I get hired. I've been hired by several different haunts in the past to come out and train their actors. I've trained as little as 15, and I've trained as much as 60 in a class. I've done a couple of training classes at MHC. I did one at HauntCon back in the dark ages. I've done one at Fear Fair once. And I even did one with Trail of Tormented Terror.
Yep, sure did. And that was a real good turnout for us too. That was probably the most people we've had for a training, was when they knew you guys were going to be there.
Well, it makes an old man feel good, I can tell you that. But these haunts that hire us in, you can't go wrong. I mean, you're going to get some good quality information. And what I teach the end all be all of haunt acting? Absolutely not. There are other great teachers out there, and there's other areas across the country that I don't cover. I mean, one of my partners on my other podcast, The Big Scary Show, Drew Badger, he's a haunt actor trainer, and he travels a lot further than I do. He's trained in California, he's trained up in New York, he trains a lot down in his area around North Carolina. He's trained at Scaratorium as well. He and I have both trained at different times, a couple of haunts in this area. And of course, I mentioned Alan Hops earlier, who is just like the Mac Daddy. Everybody wants to have Alan come out and train. And Alan has limited dates. But we all learn from each other as well when we go to each other's training classes, whether they be at another convention or a haunt, whatnot. So there's a lot of quality. I'm sorry, I keep thinking of people. There's another person in the Northern Ohio area, Katie Lane, is very adept at training, and she works with the Akron Haunted Schoolhouse and Laboratory, if I'm not mistaken. And she works with the one and only Tater. But who knows what Tater's doing this year? Tater's Tater. But you need to find those haunts where you're going to get the training. If you're not getting the training, ask for it. Say, hey, is there some kind of training? Yeah, it might be you just being stuck with somebody who's done it for a number of years and knows what to do, but it's still training.
Right.
So listen to your mentors, listen to your teachers. Like I said, what they tell you is not the end all be all, but it's meant to steer you in the right direction to be as effective a haunt actor as you can be. Because let me tell you this, Donnie can attest to this, I can attest to this on multiple times. When season starts and you get your first scare of the season, there is no feeling like it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because once that first scream comes out, it's like you become a scream junkie and you want more and more and more. And it's the best way to get high without doing anything illegal.
Right. Yep. And another thing I'd like to add to that you touched on is the conventions. There's numerous conventions across the country, and small and large. And if you're a new person wanting to get into the haunting business, you may not know, but they offer phenomenal training classes at all of these conventions, from basically haunting 101 to makeup to scene design to the back end business part of it, haunt acting. I mean, jump scares, character development. I mean, just a plethora of training classes are offered at these conventions. And so that would be another way. If a haunt you are with isn't offering training or something, go to the convention, sign up for those training classes, take it upon yourself, do your due diligence to better yourself. And it'll pay dividends for in this business. I can guarantee it.
It may cost a little bit of money, but it's well worth it.
Oh yeah.
Depending on which convention you go to, but they all have what Donnie said. They've got those behind the scenes classes. They've got makeup, character development. It's not just acting. Fire safety is a class that's offered.
Yep.
Starting a haunt 101 are some of the classes that are offered.
Yep.
There's all kinds of stuff. Makeup. I mean, makeup's a huge thing for me. I'm not a good makeup artist. I'll be the first person to admit it. I can do rudimentary makeup, but I've got costume pieces and masks that work just as well for me. So I don't wear makeup as much as I used to. And my Dean mask, well, of course, it's form-fitting and moves with my face, so that's my favorite mask to wear, but I can't wear it when I'm playing a different character.
Right.
So in that case, makeup might come out, or maybe some prosthetics. But when you get into character and that first scare comes, you shiver a little bit with anticipation.
Mm-hmm.
But what I tell everybody during one of my classes is a haunt actor that can scare somebody in makeup and costume is a good haunt actor. A haunt actor who can scare somebody in street clothes is a great haunt actor. And I challenge people every time I teach a class, I challenge them to put themselves in the mindset of their character, even though they're just dressed normally like you or I. If you can shift into that character in street clothes, then not only do you have a special character, but you've got a good talent, and you're gonna go a long way in the business.
Very good advice. That's the first time I'd actually heard of that, about trying it in street clothes.
It's one thing I always push. People say, "Well, I can't do it unless I'm in makeup and costume." Yes, you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can. It's up here. That's where your makeup and costume are.
Right.
If you can do it just like that, you got it.
Very cool. So in a nutshell, people out there, if you are wanting to get into haunting, if it's something you think you'd like to try to see if you would like it, the basic keyword is training. Training, 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 training. Look for it, hunt it out, find it, and do it. That's pretty much Haunt 101 advice. If you want to do it, train to do it.
Right. Absolutely. Just like anything else. Some people, it may come easier, may come naturally, but the majority of us have to work at it. So if you have any questions about haunt acting, or if you need advice or need to be pointed in a specific direction, feel free to contact me. You can contact me through Russell Horror, or you can email meathookjim@gmail.com. And if you've got any questions regarding that, I can point you in the right direction. I will answer your questions if I can, and if I don't have the answer, I know somebody who does have the answer. So meathookjim.com at Gmail. You can find me on Facebook, Jim Millspa. Just look for the one with the bald guy. There's several of them out there, including my dad. Don't friend him. No, my dad actually loves telling people that his son gets paid to scare people.
Nice.
I took him to a convention a few years back in South Carolina called MonsterCon, where the big scary show was, and me and Dad got to meet David Prowse, who played Darth Vader.
Nice.
So at the end of the trip, we went back to Dad's friends, and before I had to go and catch my plane, and he's walking around introducing me to everyone. This is my oldest son, Jim. He scares people for a living. I wish I did it for a living, but I
right. That's dream job material there.
It is. I work a day job just like everybody else.
Yeah.
But I've got my backing of my dad, which was something that I'd always worried about for the longest time. Was my parents. My mom, unfortunately, passed away shortly after I got into the business. But in the time she was with us, she always supported me. So I'm good. I'm in a good place now, and I'm doing my favorite things. I'm doing haunting, and I'm doing wrestling, and
yep,
it's a good time.
Oh yeah, we can't complain.
And I can't say enough about Donnie here. He's the driving force behind a lot. Not only did he sought me out just so we could get this podcast started.
Right. Yep.
And then I found out that he had a wrestling promotion, and Like, well, I'm too old to wrestle, but maybe I can do something.
Yep, there you go. Like I said, things happen for a reason.
They do. And for those of you out there that like wrestling and like horror, stay tuned to Wrestle Horror Podcast, because we're going to keep it coming to you hot and heavy every Monday as much as we can.
Oh, yeah.
And tell your friends, check us out, like us on Facebook, send us a review on iTunes or whatever media that you get the show on. Give us some feedback. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't like. Let us know, give us suggestions that you want to hear on the show, because we're going to keep mixing up wrestling and horror as much as possible, because they're more interconnected than you think.
Oh, absolutely. I believe that 100%.
And like we said with Keith Newsom, face paint.
Mm-hmm.
You wrestlers out there do face paint can learn a couple things from Keith.
Oh, yeah.
So keep us in mind. We're here to give you the best information possible, with a few jokes thrown in, and a star here or there. We've had Thunder Rosa, Indie Star Thunder Rosa on the show, and we've got some others lined up too. I know that Zoe Sky and Katie Arquette are coming up sometime in the near future.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to work on more of that. I'm working on a couple of wrestlers that I'm trying to bring in.
Yep.
We
have some referees coming on. We're gonna tackle some refereeing topics in the wrestling industry. So we got those coming our way.
Yep. Yeah. I tried to get a referee from AEW, but I have to go through media relations, and that's proven difficult.
Right. Yeah, I think it's going to be tougher and tougher as we go along.
Yeah, but if I stick with the indies, it's a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
So stay tuned to Wrestle Horror, because now I'm babbling. And
no, you're good. And we got manager podcast coming our way too with Ripper Blackheart.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. Having Ripper,
if he doesn't act like a big jerk face, then maybe he can give us some good information on managing.
Definitely. I've watched Ripper at the shows, and yeah, he does a great job at managing. He's the perfect heel manager.
Oh yeah. So a lot of good stuff coming for sure.
Oh yeah, regardless if it's haunting or wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll mix it up as much as we can, like we did on this show.
Oh yeah.
So with that being said, Donnie, as always, it's been a pleasure.
Same here.
We are going to sign off now, because I'm getting hungry.
We're going at it a while today.
Yeah, you can't hear it on the microphone. My stomach's growling. It's like, feed me or else.
All right.
So I'm going to go get some dinner. You guys keep listening. Give us that feedback, and thanks for watching.
Yep. See you guys. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media outlets. Facebook.com/WrestleHorror, Instagram @WrestleHorror, Twitter @WrestleHorror, on our YouTube channel, the Wrestle Horror Channel. Also, you can find us at www.wrestlehorror.com.